Look at the NIO Ec6. It's a beautiful automobile, and I have no doubt that it will appeal to a large number of customers in China, as well as possibly elsewhere in the future, particularly now that NIO has announced its pricing. So welcome to the new video, this time on the NIO Ec6 on the wheel, but also a little more on the broad perspective as well as some hints towards NIO's profitability. So I've got some rumors and new information for you today, and of course a little bit about the markets and what's going on, because there's a huge drop off again today, and if you're excited about the looks or the business prospect of the Ec6, please smash that like button and watch the video to the end. Ec6 will be divided into 3 tiers. Surprisingly, it will be more expensive than the year 6, but it will be cheaper in terms of model. As a result, there is now a fairly competitive atmosphere here, and unless Tesla decides to produce the model locally in China, the Ec6 appears to be underpriced in China. Also, we must keep in mind that this vehicle, once again from NIO, will be of very high quality, luxury, or even elegant in some aspects. It should be a little bit roomier inside in the Model Y with all of its features of an attorney such as candidate, assistants, and so on. It should be a little bit roomier inside than the Model Y with all of its features of an attorney such as candidates, assistant, and so on. As a result, this is a fantastic bundle. Let's take a peek at the rates once more. They're off at 368,000 yuan. That's before you consider the factor in the subsidies. Take those subsidies into account, we'll start at 350,000 yuan. So these are subsidies that NIO is eligible for because they have a battery swapping technology, which is one of the expectations for certain kinds of subsidies because otherwise they wouldn't be able to get us to this price point. And given that the Model Y is currently priced at about 488,000 yuan, the Ec6 price is more than 25% less than the starting price. So that's not a lot of competition, and it's a lot of fun for NIO. But this isn't the only aspect of the Ec6, which is why I'm referring to the road to profitability in this video, because there are a few more announcements with the Ec6. It has to do with NIO's battery leasing program, which allows you to either buy the battery over time or rent it for a monthly fee. So here are your choices. To begin, if you rent a battery, you get a 100,000 yuan discount, which means that year 6 will begin at 250,000 yuan. That translates to about 36,000 US dollars, which is incredible. If you think about it, it would be comparable to a current Model 3 standard range. And well, it's pretty cool to see this, but it appears that you can rent it for 16 months here. Then you would have to pay 1660 yuan a month to keep the battery, which you wouldn't own. Other options include leasing a battery. You put down a 15% deposit, after that, you repay the battery with interest. We can also see how banks are interested in the actual funding of this, and it all seems to be coming together now with the previous video I did with the battery swap and on the hand signing a battery as a service and technology. On the other hand, the latest bank loans announced by NIO with a credit line of $1.4 billion, which I believe will be used in part for leasing and renting services here. And as far as I can tell, this would have significant impact on NIO's profitability, and I believe there's a strategy in place, and this is what we all want to hear on our next earning call. But here's what I'm currently spectating. So you can see the NIO ADR in the center, and within that, the NIO China entity. You can see on the left-hand side that there is a new type of organization called NIO Battery Asset Management, because as we can see here, as reported in the Chinese media, NIO is currently opening a new battery assessment company that will begin operations in August and will be working alongside CATL, which is one of China's largest battery companies. They're also a new Tesla provider in China. They're also constructing a large plant in Germany, but that's the #1 battery supplier, and they're still going to invest in this business because they're providing batteries for newer at a time. As well as the 6 banks that might have already given NIO a credit line, this new venture will include them. According to the paper, NIO will receive a new investment from a major energy fund. So in general, what we're seeing here is that NIO appears to have a larger strategy to outsource or bring this battery asset issue into the new company here, which is, yes, part of NIO due to the investment, but also separate and build up this battery swapping, battery leasing, and battery renting service outside of NIO. And as a result, I believe that they will be able to significantly increase profit margins on new vehicles since more and more cars will be sold without batteries, as the battery will only be leased. Then there's the motor, which is normally the most expensive part of this vehicle. And I believe they have a higher margin if they only sell the car without a battery. At the same time, this new NIO Battery Asset Management Company, which is backed by major investors and local banks, will be the organization that will sell such batteries as a service financing method to consumers. As a result, they have effectively outsourced the whole battery industry and all that goes with it. And this means that on one hand, NIO will be undercutting a consumer cost since their cars will be sold separately from the battery. And for reporting and accounting purposes, I believe NIO would be able to disclose the purchase price without the battery, avoiding the need to account for their cost of such battery and thereby raising the gross margins of the car sold. Simultaneously, they will make significant progress on the larger orders. We now know that production will be ramped up to 5,000 units by September. So for those cars that are sold with batteries, they would almost certainly be able to raise gross margins. So I believe that's the news that we'll hear from the CEO and the CFO on the next earnings call. They'll reveal that they have this new venture in place and that along with the EC6, they'll be promoting this battery rental program as well as swapping and other services. And this is the big picture of how they'll improve margins for each car they sell, in addition to the improved effects of cutting costs on the one side. On the other side, increasing factory capability and order sizes allowing for stronger cost negotiations. Investors believe that this is good news because while we've all been hoping for positive gross margins, particularly if they can be double digits, I believe this new model is the first step towards demonstrating how they can reach double-digit gross margins here. On the other hand, doing it this way is a bit of a ruse since they are able to distinguish the cost of the batteries. Then you bring it into the various projects in some ways and you're delivering it to the customer as a cohesive service as one thing. It is a way of, tinkering with the numbers a little bit since Tesla is currently ahead of the pack in terms of technology and battery cost. And NIO has used this business model and accounting trick to boost gross margins and clean up its finances in several ways. As a result, it's a bit of a two-edged sword for me. On one hand, it's beneficial because it will undoubtedly assist Wall Street in better understanding how NIO will become successful in the future. These cost advantages of NIO here, on the other hand, are not based on a technical advantage. It's now motivated by business model creativity and modern service models that's completely exclusive to this industry. So I hope this gives you a good idea of what to expect from NIO in the coming months, as well as what profitability could look like. And now let's look at what's going on with the stock prices right now. It's been quite interesting because with the trade wars and tensions between China and the United States escalating, while at the same time with all the worries about the running situation here and there, it's been quite interesting. As a result, the markets have reacted very strongly. First and foremost, we saw a pullback in the S&P 500 yesterday. And actually, when we started this week, it was really strong and positive because we were breaking recent all-time highs and levels and your markets were really moving up very quickly. And then yesterday, we saw this major sell-off and then we saw it come back and crash through the support line. Now I'm bouncing off this small pillar. Then it's just up to us to keep an eye on things. If the markets are able to break through this current resistance, it will open up once more, sending a strong bullish signal. And in the coming weeks, we might see a lot of promise. For the time being though, it's an even split. We might see a major sell-off if it breaks down below the expected levels. And as we've seen today in the markets, the volatile stocks, risks, and tech stocks such as NIO and Tesla have been severely impacted by this, despite Tesla's excellent earnings. So if Tesla has reported poor earnings, those stocks would have likely suffered a significant drop. Yes, I believe so. For the time being, we should be very pleased with what has occurred. So for me, the bottom line here is that when you see a market volatility, it's most likely driven what's going on in the market from larger factors like Tesla's earnings, what's going on in the markets like EV sales and so on, and even what we should expect from NIO to happen with its EC6 announcement with these new improvements on this. I don't think I'm worried. But in general, I believe we will see some reasonable help in these regions and NIO will hopefully stabilize from here. So yeah, that's it on the news about the EC6 and what it means for profitability. Stay tuned for more videos. Hopefully already during the weekend, I've got a new stock that I will be introducing. Here's a little teaser for that, and yeah, stay tuned, subscribe, please like, and enjoy the weekend.